welcome to the GCW Plant Podcast, episode 6. Once again with us, Mr. John J. Wolf. How are you doing tonight, John?
You know, I'm doing fantastic, man. How you doing tonight?
Doing good. As we were kind of talking about earlier, even though the Liverpool
5 minutes ago.
Yeah, right. The Liverpool shows were fun. It does kind of feel nice seeing the UCC Center. Kind of feels like the second home for GCW, seeing another familiar venue. So, I was excited for this, seeing it back in the States, seeing how they're going to capitalize off of what they just did in Liverpool. And this was a pretty fun show. Before we get into the show, I know they made a comment before on Twitter, like the crowd, a lot of the crowd and some of the wrestlers, or maybe even some other talent, was a little late to the show because of the horrible traffic in LA. So if you do watch the show and you do see kind of like, oh, there's not that many people there, it starts off that way. It does fill up as the show goes on. They did actually delay the start even to this night for about 15 minutes just to kind of fill up more people, because I have been there before too when they've kind of done the same thing where, hey, something's going on. We have a bad feed to Fight TV, or Fight TV's having issues, so they're telling us to wait, or traffic is pretty backed up and our line outside's pretty big. So I have been there when they've kind of done these kind of things. So I know as soon as the show starts and as the show goes along, it does fill up and it does turn into a normal GCW show. It just might not start off as hot because of not the whole crowd is there. So just a little backstory on this beginning of the night, kind of see how the show started off in LA at a rough start. But this was a fun show. It is from the UCC, the Ukrainian Culture Center in Los Angeles, California. I have to mention again, just because it is just kind of so noticeable, especially being in LA, that once again, there is no KG on commentary, which is... Yeah,
that kind of stinks.
Yeah.
No kidding. I just wanted to mention that because I think we mentioned it maybe 2 shows ago or 3 shows ago where, we kind of miss KG on the microphone. And that means absolutely nothing against Castle, MLJ, or Prazak. I'm just saying, you cannot replace that voice. Just like if MLJ was gone, I don't give a fuck if we put... It doesn't matter who's in there. You're not going to replace MLJ.
Yeah.
It's just we haven't seen him for a while. We hope to see him soon. Again, it could be COVID. It could be who knows what. We want to make sure that hopefully no one's ill. We just want to send well wishes, and we hope to see KG soon. Before we started, too, you mentioned the California crowd. I don't have a better way to put it, but it is the California crowd. Sometimes they show up a little later, but traffic in this one was what bit the crowd. And the Cali lifestyle, no kidding. For people who are like East Coast fans or someone listening from somewhere else, the Cali lifestyle is just a little more laid back. So I think I said this before in an earlier show. Someone may not have heard it though. If you go to a baseball game in California, there will be 20, 30, 40, 50% of the people there within the first 3 innings. By 4, 5, and 6, it starts to really fill up. By 7th, 8th, and 9th, it's usually full. And if there's a team really losing, generally people are already filing out. That's just the California crowd. They show up late. They eventually do get there, though. But traffic half the time is really the biggest problem in LA.
Yeah, and I just wanted to make mention to it because it was mentioned before, and if you did see the show or maybe you missed it, just kind of give a little backstory on how the night started. Because the reason I brought up KG in the commentary, because obviously, yes, it was very noticeable he wasn't there, and we kind of had MLJ step in for the first match with Dave Prazak, and then the rest of the night was Jordan Castle. Just a quick little hit on Jordan Castle. This was his best I've heard of him on any commentary that he's done. I don't know if this was planned where he was supposed to be there, and maybe he was one of the ones that was late and missed the first match. Or if he was scheduled to be there, or if he wasn't scheduled to be there and just kind of hopped in and to fill in at the moment. I don't know, but it was kind of weird him just hopping in after this first match and then kind of filling in the rest of the night. But he did do good. But as you said, it's not a disrespect to Castle. It is just not the same hearing KG lose his mind in the back of the UCC on stage, or delivering awesome comments during the matches and giving credence to maybe what happened in Liverpool. I made a mention in the Liverpool podcast when Jordan beat Blake, how I was kind of wish that it was brought up more. And I thought maybe this show in LA with KG, maybe watching the shows, he would make a bigger point when Jordan has his match later on of why that was such a big victory, or why it was a big victory over any of the GCW people that had victories in Liverpool, and just him not being there kind of did take it right away from me. But the show will go on just like always, and we will head into our first match of the evening, as it is two competitors I have never heard of before. And holy shit, it was amazing. Like, once again, they just find these wrestlers that I've never heard of, and they absolutely kill it. And that's what happens in this first match of the evening is Archangel Divino going one-on-one with Ultimo Maldito. And yeah, it was incredible. It was fun.
You took a breath there. You're like, shit, where do I begin?
Yeah, it was entertaining. What was your thoughts on the match, John?
Okay, so these two were absolutely new to me also. The great news is they're brothers. So this is like a Phoenix Penta situation. And I'm going to tell you, they wrestled exactly like they were brothers. They knew each other through and through, and it was obvious. They're putting in some serious work, and it was fast. These guys were obvious veterans. Both men are freaking awesome. They protected each other really well. That's one other thing I wanted to say, because you really do see that quite a bit more or less in the lucha style, because it's just so risky. And same thing here. I wanted to mention it because they were just so protective of each other. It was just fantastic. A lot of in and out of the ring action. That's the best way I can put it, because there was a lot of insane moves, and it was quick and fast paced. In and out of there in 7 minutes. Fantastic stuff, man. I would love to see them both come back again. No questions asked.
Yeah, I had zero idea what these two were, and oh my god, like the chemistry, obviously now knowing that they're brothers makes total sense, but the chemistry these two had was fucking amazing. And like Archangel does a crazy like code, not even a code red, like I guess a code red Canadian story, whatever you want to call it, because he like flipped onto Maldito's, like stood on his leg, turned around, jumped on his head, and then turned it into a cold red. Like, I've never seen anything like it. It was so smooth. Where that was my first thought. It was like right away, it's like, okay, these two must have worked together a lot wherever they have wrestled from, because it was amazing. And right away I was like, okay, I want to see this match keep on going. This is the awesome start, because I was questionable. We always talk about like the hot nights or hot starts to the night for GCW, where there'd be a scramble, two crazy high flyers, an extreme title match, something. They always start off hot, and seeing two names that I never heard of, I was questionable already for the start. I'm like, okay, these two just kind of filling in because of wrestlers running late, and they just have to kind of put on a match to get the show going. Were these two? I don't remember it's been a week since this has been out, but I don't remember like seeing their names advertised for the show. Actually, I do. I think I remember seeing one of the names advertised for the show, because I remember like, oh, I never heard of them. But the way these two moved in the ring, the lucha style that these two did was amazing. I right away add these two to Gringo Loco, ASF, Arez, Jack Cartwheel, whoever you want to get in lucha style. Throw these two into a lucha extreme match, because scramble, because this was fucking amazing. And these two, for the 7-minute match it was, as you said, it was absolutely nonstop. It was just go, 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 and the crowd right away ate it up. I think I saw a standing ovation in the first 2 minutes of the night, which is kind of unheard of. So you could tell the crowd absolutely loved what they saw in the ring, and I loved watching it on the screen, because their chemistry was crazy. It was amazing. I want to see just these two go at it again for a couple matches in a row, have a little series.
Oh yeah.
And this is just my first time seeing them, so absolute shout out to Divino and Maldito for this, because like I said, I had zero expectations. I was like, okay, let's see a fun match, but right away they just grabbed me and brought me into this match, and I loved every single second of it.
And our winner, Archangel Divino, via tap out. No shit, the winner did not matter in this one. It didn't matter who won. It didn't matter who lost. The match was so damn good. It wasn't about it wasn't about the finish. It wasn't about that end, where a lot of things, maybe a lot of other matches, it would matter. This was so damn quality. It was not about that. It was just about what they were capable of doing. Fans love these two. I do too. Again, please come back. They could have been given more time, honestly, and they could have filled it another 4 minutes. You know, that would have made it an 11-minute match, which still would have been under the GCW average. I feel like we're more like, I put this in my notes. I feel like we're more back to the level of wrestling that GCW generally puts on. I feel like we may have been a touch muted at in England, and I only say that maybe because of the amount of ringside area there that maybe they had to work with, because GCW definitely used the hangar well, but I felt like God, it's like we're home. It felt
Yes.
like we were home, and the wrestling level was back up again to where it should be. These two were fucking knockout, dude. I can't wait to see them again. I hope they're back on LA as soon as possible.
Yeah, like that was amazing, because like even for this match to end by tap out was kind of shocking to me, because
Right?
I'm like, hey, luchadors, then you ended with a tap out, not some crazy high flying move, but how Davino got into the armbar was he ran off the ropes, jumped on to Maldito's leg. It seemed to be a cornerstone of this match, and then Maldito caught him into like a torture rack and went to go spin it into like a torture rack like slam, but then Davino twisted his way out of it and turned the torture rack into like the rotational head scissors, where they just went around the body and then fell right to the ground and grabbed the arm and yanked it for a tap out. And like, I just thought these two were incredible. Like brothers, I want to see, like, after seeing this, put them and Los Macizos together. Like, that's what I seem to always do, is like, after seeing a wrestle for the first time, okay, who do I want to see them wrestle against? These two, team them up if they're brothers, going against Los Macizos, because I think they could have an incredible match with or without weapons. I don't know how extreme these two guys get. They look like they probably could do the deathmatch style as well, but this lucha style that they did was incredible. And as you said, I definitely, as soon as possible, want to see these two back in a GCW ring. That will lead us into our second match of the evening, as Joey Janela teams with Starboy Charlie, having their grudge match against the South Pacific Savages. And this has been kind of brewing since not even the last time in LA. I think it was the time before that they were in LA, that match was kind of teased as the South Pacific Savages, kind of Jacob Fatu and Juicy Finale. They went after Starboy. They've been going after Starboy for almost damn near a year now, it seems like, but and his mom. So yeah, this was the grudge match. This was finally the match that this show was kind of built upon, and first match announced for this card. And what was your thoughts on this tag match?
I love the Savages, dude. I'm a big fan of Haas's. Everybody knows that. Fatu is just a fucking beast. And then here comes Juicy. It's just incredible how much beef is coming to the ring. I'd love to see how much those guys can eat. Like, I'm not kidding that their bill at like the Heart Attack Grill here in Vegas would probably be a pretty large bill, man. I really would love to see how much protein they go through in a day. And I'm probably sure they know. They probably know as athletes how much they roll through. Yeah, the Savages are exactly what I want to see out of heels. They're imposing. They come to the ring and people almost want to step back a little. They have that. And yeah, you're going to probably even mention that, right?
I'm the one that's like when Jacob walks in the room, like especially at the UCC, the mood changes. And like I said, I'm one of those people, like, I ran around the ring one time when Juicy was going after Starboy and Starboy's mom, Jacob Fatu was going after Starboy's mom and all the madness, because he's just grabbing chairs, chucking them at Matthew Justice, and Matthew Justice standing right here, but the chair's coming from 20 feet away. Jacob absolutely changes the mood of that room.
Okay, so I was actually happy to see that most of this match went with traditional tag rules. It really added to it, because we had one weakness in this match, really, and that's the way it was booked, was Starboy Charlie. Starboy Charlie would take a hit, and that son of a bitch would fly 6 feet back. Yep. And I mean, he'd have some offense, but then somebody would just put a fist in his chest again, and he'd fall back again. So I was just realizing that Fatu is way more athletic than he looks, and I didn't know this. I don't know how in the hell he doesn't have a major contract somewhere. And I don't know why, and it might be personal reasons, and it's none of my business, but he's one of those people that he's in that caliber where it may be time to pick him up at a good price before he comes at a higher price later. There was a spot. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like you said, I think he's criminally underrated because, as you said, I've seen him in MLW, the little, like in GCW, he could put on a 30-minute match and tell an incredible story, do incredible moves, still be a menace as he is. Because, like I said, I see Jacob Fatu go, like, I think I told this story before. I'll say it again because it's embarrassing on my end. We were sitting in front row. I think it was the South, like Juicy and somebody, or Juicy going against Matthew Justice. And I was like, oh shit, right away. This is going to get bad. This is going to get crazy. And chairs were flying everywhere. Like, it felt like how Joey Janela caused the riot. It felt like a riot where, like, I didn't know where to go. I was with my wife, and I don't want my wife to get hit because obviously that's not going to be fun rest of the show. So I'm trying to protect her, but she's just standing there enjoying the shit out of it. And I was like, hey, follow me. And I ran to the other corner because the action was getting near us. And then I'm looking back at her and she's just enjoying the show. And I'm the one chicken shitting, running away. Like, come on, like, stay away. Like, the action never goes near me. Like, I was just, Jacob Fatu, like, seriously, when I first saw him, they were throwing beers in the ring at him in the ring for no reason at all. Like, I don't know. Like, whatever he's done to the LA crowd, that's the most heat I've seen him get ever, or almost any wrestler, because he walks in right away. People want to throw shit at him, get in his face, cuss him out. And he's proven where he doesn't care. He's punched a fan. I know it's one of the fans that's at this show because I see him all the time. He's punched a fan at another not a GCW show, but another company show because he don't give a fuck. Like, Jacob Fatu is a bad dude in the venue, in the ring and stuff like that. He is unpredictable. And as you said, as the Haas's, I love seeing Juicy Finau being the big, mad, bad, mean Haas. Not like, it's fun when he's Juicy for now, Juicy for later. He's the smiley Juicy everybody loves. I think Jacob Fatu and this team of the South Pacific Savages is probably exactly what you've been clamoring for. And
no, I cry. I cry a lot. Yeah, I was crying for it.
I meant
clamoring. At some point. Yeah.
But I was crying because I'm like, oh shit, Jacob, I don't know where to go. Like, I'm going to be running away. And I think these two are just what as you said, GCW needs. Some just monsters and menaces, and they don't care. They'll come in and ruin, like they ruined the match between Joey Janela and Starboy at the end when they had their match in San Francisco. And that's where kind of this started, was the South Pacific Savages have been wanting to get their hands on Starboy, interfered in the match with Joey Janela. That's how Joey Janela inserted himself into this feud. And I just think between those two, Jacob and Juicy going against Starboy, I think that's a perfect story to tell because it's obviously the underdog against two monster heels. And how is Starboy going to conquer these two heels? And these two just are nonstop, just causing chaos. And I love it because the mood does change, and that just makes it for a way more entertaining match or whatever they're in, a segment, it's whatever. It just makes it way more entertaining as a fan and get more invested. And for me, I'm literally invested just to save my own life and get the hell out of the way from Juicy, or keep saying Juicy, Jacob, because Jacob is a menace, and I want to see more of him in GCW, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that dude is brick thick.
Yep.
How could this company not have the baddest and meanest heels in the industry? I mean, I think it just goes to say, if everybody's going to be badass, how could the heels not be the baddest ass of the bunch? There was a spot where Janela hit a Samoan drop on Juicy, which I had to mention. Someone came out in a mask at one point and interfered with the match, and commentary didn't say his name at all. So I have no idea who it is. I found that really awkward. I'm just saying, fans have no idea. Maybe that's better. Fans have no idea who he is. And that kind of stinks. And I even saw a point where I believe Emil kind of was going to announce, but then didn't say. And I don't know why or for what reason. There may be a reason for that, because I know Emil knows his shit. Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that was there and acknowledged it, because there may be a good reason for it, and I'm not sure.
And that's where I did get pretty angry watching that part once Are we allowed to say his name? I don't know how that works. Yeah, okay.
We say all the names. It's
Yes.
perfectly fine.
The person that came out in the mask to help the South Pacific Savages is teammate of Juicy Finau out here in FSW at Vegas. It is Toa Leona, who, if you've never seen him, I will just describe him kind of as my son did when he first saw him, as a scary looking Aquaman. Because he's got the tattoos all over the place. He fits in with the South Pacific Savages. I loved it. I loved it because Toa, I think I saw him once on a GCW match, or maybe he showed up to help Juicy. I think I remember only one appearance from them, and he didn't really get mentioned. And on commentary, this is where I miss KG. This is why I got so mad. It's like, why are we not saying his name? Why are we not acknowledging this person? Like, or as you said, there could be a storyline of, hey, we don't know who that is. This is supposed to be some masked person that they're not supposed to be here. Some vigilante that came out here and is running shit that should not be here and helping Jacob and Juicy. So we don't want to give him that kind of clout and that kind of acknowledgement. Where as a fan with me, as soon as I saw it was Toa, I was like, that is perfect. That is so awesome. Go Toa. I love him because like he's actually really good. He's like just started his wrestling career. I think he's less than 2 years into it, but he's got the look. He's pretty good in the ring, but he fits in with the South Pacific Savages perfect. And I was like almost like screaming at the TV. I'm like, say his name, like give him the recognition.
Right.
And
especially as Vegas people.
Exactly.
Like,
yeah.
You know,
and I just thought it was such a good fit. I think he's kind of has the Jacob Fatu feel where like, if you guys have watched like, AEW or the Ring of Honor version of AEW, he is in now, on there. So he actually made an appearance last night and like you kind of got to see the badass in him where like, yeah, I don't care if you faces came out. I'm still outside this ring. I'm still here. Do something. And you see like them actually like stiff Toa, and Toa's like, no, that wasn't enough getting back up there. He has the badass characters, which fits in perfectly with Jacob and Juicy. And I'm just thinking too, like, does Dave maybe not know his name? Or I know Emil does, but then as you said, like, why isn't Emil saying their name? Like, something's got to be going on. Oh, it actually wasn't even Emil. I'm sorry. It was Jordan Castle was here for this match. Because this was match number 2. I'm pretty sure it was Jordan Castle. I could be wrong. I could be wrong because I know Jordan did join at some point. I'm
wrong a lot too.
It could have been before or after this match, but that's why I'm like, why are we not? And Jordan would know Toa too because he knows a lot of out here the West Coast wrestling, and Toa does the West Coast. So I popped because I loved seeing Toa in GCW. I thought it was the perfect fit and the perfect time to introduce him. Come in and ruin this match against Joey and Starboy. I didn't like it because it seems it's going to extend it even further, and we do find out at the end of this match it does. This kind of story is not over; it will be extended, and I just feel like it's kind of dragged on too long because the only time they ever really acknowledge the rivalry is when it's in the UCC or in California. It's not acknowledged in the AC in Atlanta, like. They do the show in LA, they start a rivalry, nothing happens for like 5-10 shows, and then next time they're in LA, they continue it, and I just think it takes a lot away from the story. It's dragging it out way more than what it should be doing, and like you're not acknowledging it except once every month, 2 months, 3 months, whenever they're in California. So I think that's what's hurting the storyline, and I didn't like to see it get extended. I was kind of hoping that Toa would show up and like just they would end this rivalry and storyline and move on to the next thing, because I'm excited to see what Toa is going to bring to these two and what Toa is going to be bringing to a GCW ring.
Honestly, I would love to know why we don't see both of these guys on the East Coast, but maybe. First of all, they're big guys. I wouldn't be surprised if you have to have Juicy at 2 seats just to come over. And then Fatu, he's a big boy too. There's a possibility he may need 2 seats, maybe not. But I don't know. Maybe one of them don't fly.
Yeah,
you know, and maybe it's just they come out during special occasions, kind of thing. But you're right. We only see it on the West Coast, and again, it could be scheduling. I mean, you don't know.
Yeah, that's a disaster. I know scheduling is a giant part in indie wrestling, but I just think that's these three. As we've been clamoring for it, we've been wanting it. I think these three could kind of do a cool storyline to be the biggest heels of the company. of just coming in and just destroying shit and ruining it. So I agree with you. I do want to see more of them on outside of the West Coast.
And I appreciate that that we do have a storyline to go.
Yes.
Because we were talking about getting storylines. I was really happy we had that. So speaking of storyline here, and again, I feel like we've almost seen this before. You know what I mean? Like it had that feeling like we saw this last time.
That's like my point is like this has been over like almost close to a year that this Starboy versus Jacob and Juicy has been going on. And like I know Starboy got hurt and that kind of hurt a lot of it too. So obviously Starboy was out of commission, so you can't tell the story during then. But I just wish this would be continue on somehow, some way through almost the GCW tours of the different cities. I think they should be telling the story somehow, some way, furthering the storyline along instead of just acknowledging it during in California.
So here goes the storyline portion. Starboy's mom starts to talk a little shit, gets in the ring, and talks a little more to both. All three of the South Pacific Savages. I'll put all three in SPS for right now, just for sake, because they are working as a team.
Yeah.
So she finally leaves because she can see she's outnumbered, and she goes and she grabs a chair. She comes back in the ring. She hits Juicy. Not going to happen. Juicy headbutts Starboy's mom. She goes down. Starboy and mom get splashed by Juicy. Or no, I'm sorry, by Fatu.
Yep.
And this didn't end well. Basically, both of them are on the ground kind of reaching for each other, and they just get the shit kicked out of them. So at that point, there was no winner. It was no contest. And the story continues.
Yes. After the match is over, Joey gets on the mic, starts yelling at everybody, calling Juicy and Jacob. I think he said like the South Pacific bitches or something like that. I think he said something ridiculous where I was kind of like laughing. I'm like, come on, really, Joey? That's all you can say. But they will be hopefully ending the story the next time they are in LA, which was announced also during the show on October 29th.
29th, yeah. 29th, okay.
And it will be the South Pacific Savages of Jacob and Juicy as of right now. I think that's what was announced. Going against Starboy Charlie and Joey Janela, except this time it will be in a steel cage match, hopefully to keep Toa Leona out of the ring. But who knows what's going to happen, because I've never seen GCW do just a straight cage match. So I'm interested to see how that goes. I will be going to that show. I got front row tickets, so I will be super excited, enjoying the night until the South Pacific Savages come out, and then I will run away, go to the merch table until they get into the cage. And then once they're in the cage, I'll feel nice and safe that Jacob Fatu won't cause havoc outside, and then I'll go back to my seat. But I'm very looking forward to this match to kind of see what happens in a steel cage GCW match with these four competitors, because I think this would be the time to kind of end the story. Maybe kind of have Joey Janela get hurt or kind of leave kind of Starboy off to himself, and then Starboy just comes in and wreaks havoc and beats both monsters. I could just see the UCC crowd popping and going nuts for that. But it's going to be interesting. I'm looking forward to that match.
Even after the match, our mystery man still wasn't identified by commentary. Of course, I'm sure that could be a mistake, but there was more than one person involved there. Also, SPS versus Los Macizos, book it.
Yes.
I want to see that go down. Those guys are tough as nails. They can take an ass beating.
Yes. And that would be fun. I would I'm just trying to picture all the crazy, like literally just said that match. I'm like, oh my God, like all these little things, all these like I literally just played the match out in my head, and I actually see that'd be a good way to push the South Pacific Savages of kind of destroying Los Macizos, GCW's kind of tag team. I don't want to say flavor of the month because they've been around forever, but it seems like they've been very popular now. And I think a win over those two for the South Pacific Savages would go a long way for them and kind of help solidify themselves as the monsters and just kind of destroy all the tag teams and all the people that GCW loves. I would kind of like to see them go down the GCW roster and just raise hell and havoc and kind of say like, this is our GCW now. You can't take it away from us. So you see the size of us, like who's going to beat us? And then maybe SGC comes out or something like that. Like, I just think that they got a lot of stuff to do, and I think it's going to be fantastic. And I hope they kind of keep the South Pacific Savages going in storylines. I just kind of hope they kind of get rid of the Starboy Charlie angle after this cage match because it has been dragged on for a while. And I would like to see Starboy kind of go on to bigger names, not bigger names, but like more matches and more marquee matches that he's been kind of earning over these last few months since his return from injury.
Well, I think that the South Pacific Savages, they bolster the roster for GCW when it comes to tag teams. And I think it was just, we needed it. We needed it a while ago because at some point it seems like we were really thin on tag teams. And I feel that's how Bussy came to be, honestly.
Yeah.
And I felt that when I first saw that, I'm going, yeah, that was a put together kind of situation between those. But yeah, they really add a lot of beef to the tag team division. And I'm happy to have them, even if it's just on the West Coast. And as much as we know now that that we see GCW on the West Coast, it's really nice to have them.
Yeah, I loved it. I loved how they introduced Toa like that. Like I know I don't want to say like we need storylines. We finally get one, and I'm bitching about it. All I'm bitching about is the length of it, and as you said, the repetitiveness of it. It seems like it's always at the UCC. It's always Starboy's mom gets involved somehow. It's always. It's very repetitive. I don't like that part, but I do like them giving, like, fleshing out a story. I just want to see not that long and not that repetitive. That's all. But I absolutely love it. And I just love the storytelling of Toa, of like, not that they needed an extra help or an extra man, but coming in and I think, like I said, he fits right into them. And him and Juicy have a lot of chemistry together as a tag team out here. Him and Jacob, I think, are going to be just two incredibly scary badasses that a lot of people aren't going to want to have matches with. And I think they could. I know we don't see a lot of squash matches in GCW, like I can't honestly think of one unless it's like a Marco stunt involved somehow. Like, I'm just trying to think of something like that. I can't even think of a less like quote unquote squash match, but I wouldn't mind seeing maybe, hey, bring in some of the local independent tag teams that maybe aren't on like the main event level or what was that other tag team? I'm missing it. The main event.
Aussie Open?
Yeah, the Aussie Open. I'm trying to think of like that Providence run they had. They had when Bussy went against the main event and Waves and Curls. Like, don't bring in don't bring in a tag team caliber of that, like that kind of notoriety. I would like to see them bring in like complete local independent talents where maybe, hey, if it's in Vegas, only two of us would. Well, a lot of the Vegas talent does go to these GCW shows as kind of not extras, but they're kind of like making sure that everything's all right during their entrances. They came out and had to make sure Starboy Charlie's mom was okay and stuff like that. I would just like to see like those two just do a 2-minute match, squash some local talent, and just show how bad they are, or how bad that ass they are for a couple matches, and all of a sudden maybe build them up to Waves versus Waves and Curls and main event or some bigger name tag teams wherever they are, and kind of just mow down the division and kind of just exert their dominance. Because I think, as you said, we kind of missed the everybody hates the heel that everybody absolutely hates. And I've been like being at the UCC, Jacob does not have a single fan. Like, they get into his face, they scream and yell. And like, that's why we feel that GCW's been missing. I would like to see them grow upon that and turn the South Pacific Savages into even bigger monsters than what they are currently. And that will lead us into our third matchup of the evening, as Jordan Oliver goes 1-on-1 with Kevin Blackwood. And of course, I'm excited to see Jordan in another match. I believe they ran this back one time, Jordan against Kevin Blackwood. I want to say it was even the UCC again, too. But I feel like I've seen this match either in one company or another. But I would like to see this match because seeing Kevin Blackwood, he's back to where he was. We kind of talked how there was a couple matches he seemed not at his tippity top level that he currently isn't now. He's back in form and back on top of his game, and him versus Jordan should be a nice classic match. And I was looking forward to it and see what kind of matches these two would have. What was your thoughts on this match?
Okay, so for me, it was more of an old school match. I said this earlier on like an alley match, but there was a lot of kicks and strikes. That's what Blackwood does. That's what we stuck with. Jordan Oliver didn't really go up on the ropes as much as he normally does. He actually kept his boots on the ground and fought at Blackwood's level. For me, I felt like this was average when it came to excitement level for a Jordan Oliver match. I think for a Kevin Blackwood match, this was also average. I not gonna lie, this was really what it was for me. I really felt like they could have done more. They were given 16 minutes to work with here, and it could have been less. I've never really said that, I think, about Jordan Oliver matches, but this is just one where I don't know what it was. It hit me different. There was a moment where the floor camera, one of the guys that was on the floor camera, actually they held it and then they panned it, and it was nice and smooth and actually looked good. I don't know how many other people can do that or have the ability, but if they can, it looked fantastic, and I hope they can use that again. Any type of a pan looks really good, especially when you can pan across a crowd. Just a pan while someone is in a hold across the bottom of the ring has a really good look to it, and it has to be one of the few times I've ever seen it in GCW, and it was done so well I had to mention it.
Yeah, I enjoyed this match. The biggest part for me of my enjoyment of this match was thank you, Dave Prazak, for kind of explaining to the audience of Jordan's victory over Blake Christian and giving the acknowledgement of, hey, that's a giant deal for Jordan. That victory over Blake Christian might have propelled him, and if he gets another victory over here against Kevin Blackwood, that might have propelled Jordan Oliver to the titles scene, as Blake Christian just wrestled for it. Like everything that I said that after that match on the last or a couple podcasts ago, Dave Prazak did acknowledge it. So thank you, Dave, for doing it.
Thank you, Dave.
That's what I was saying. I know KG, if he was there, would have done it immediately. If he was here at the LA show, he would have probably made mention to it. But Dave did, and I'm glad they did it, because if they weren't going to mention on this show, I would have just been like, then what are the points of these matches if we're not going to acknowledge of the winning streak that Blake's been on this year, just wrestled Moxley, and then probably took his first one-on-one loss in a long time against a GCW wrestler, and that should feel important. Doesn't matter if it's Jordan or whoever, if it's an up-and-comer and someone just beat a former title person that just had a title match, that's a big deal for who just beat that person, and it should be acknowledged, and it will help raise that person's value and what the perception that the fans think of them. And I just did not understand why they did not do it in Liverpool, but I'm very glad Dave Prazak did it, because it made this match then feel more important, because, hey, Jordan Oliver's on a big win streak, or just had a big win. Let's see if he keeps his win streak and see where that takes him in the future, because like we were talking about, it's between him having the most matches and kind of the not the most victories, but the most matches, with Effie having the most matches, Jimmy Lloyd, like there should be a reason for these matches instead of just putting on fun matches. Wins and losses should matter, and I think this was a great way to kind of bring that back into acknowledging that wins and losses do matter in GCW. So I'm very glad they kind of made that a point to express out during the show on commentary.
So our winner of the night, Jordan Oliver, with another clout cutter. I love how he always ends up finishing off someone with that clout cutter, and it looks so damn good. Okay, so strong booking is where I would have changed things up a little. Jordan should have beaten Kevin in under 10 minutes. Let's just talk right there.
Yep.
If we're talking about having a run for Oliver, making him look strong, they've invested in Oliver all throughout 2022. I think the one thing that they should be doing is they should have taken someone who's a boots on the ground like Kevin Blackwood, and Jordan should have just beat the crap out of him, even if it takes 10 minutes. Just they should have done that. And I feel that this really should have ended at the 10-minute mark. I don't know why. Maybe it was just they were a little different towards each other. And again, maybe, of course, it can be my interpretation because you like this one better than I do. And I'm just being vocal about it, which is, but yeah, I don't know why. It just felt like an odd matchup. And part of it is because Jordan Oliver was performing out of his normal game. Normally, Jordan has more aerial. He has more movement. Again, this was where Jordan stood his ground and just go, go, go. And it's very different from our normal Jordan. And I think not getting what I normally expect out of Jordan here is what took me out of it just a little, because he's one of my favorites.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that too could be like the travel. Like they just got back from Liverpool. and then right away
travel.
right back into this, and then after this, right back into Japan. So we've seen a couple, like we saw Jordan out here in Vegas, and we know his travel. Like, hey, I wrestled at 9 p.m. I got to be on a flight at 11 p.m. to wrestle again at 10 a.m. the next morning. So it's like there's just the schedule that some of these wrestlers are going is incredible to watch.
Respectful.
Yeah, I don't understand how they could just keep going and going. I agree with you.
Me neither. If I sleep wrong, I'm fucked up.
Right, exactly.
I don't know how they're doing it.
They'd sleep on the plane and then hop right into the next match, and that's insane. Geez. But I agree with you. I think with the booking, it just seemed like, hey, you just had a big victory over Blake, but now honestly, just based off of wins and losses, a step down against Kevin, because I think after he got big marquee win, it should have propelled him into like maybe a bigger one-on-one match against Joey or Mance Warner or somebody that is higher up, not that they have the rankings, but just somebody that has more momentum to keep Jordan's momentum going. Because after Blake Christian, who'd you beat next? Oh, Blackwood. Like, yeah, so did Masha, so did this person, so did that person. Like, why does your victory over Kevin Blackwood make it any more special than anyone else's? Just because you beat Blake? Like, that didn't make any sense to me, as you said, booking wise. Like, I think if you do go against someone like Kevin Blackwood after beating Blake, and it should have been, as you said, an 8-minute match, dominant, and then I think this would have been a perfect time to give the mic to someone else and let Jordan kind of say, hey, call his shot. I just beat Blake. He couldn't beat Mox. I just beat Blackwood in so 7 minutes. Like, I'm ready for the test. And if that's going to be against my mentor, Nick Gage, then so be it. It is what it is. Or if it's Gage couldn't get the job done against Moxley, I will rep the MDK gang. I will defend Nick Gage's name, and I will beat John Moxley for the belt. I thought that would in my mind, I was kind of hoping for a promo after this match. And unfortunately, we didn't get it. And the reason I say that is because they let him speak on commentary during the Liverpool show. So I thought maybe that was, hey, to get your confidence up, to get some more reps on promos, because we haven't really seen Jordan in the ring cutting a promo. I thought that was like maybe a build up to, hey, okay, you did your little commentary thing, you got your comfortable speaking, let's boom, get you in the UCC with the live mic after another big victory. I don't know. I don't know what's...
They need a manager.
They
need a manager.
I would just like to see, like, if you're going to book Jordan this strong, keep it going. Where, like, as you said, this match didn't make any sense booking wise for me. I'm glad he got the win. I'm glad he gets to keep his momentum going. I'm very interested to see what happens if he is up top on the next in line, not next line, but up there, the top 2 or 3 to get a title match, because it seems like the title matches with Moxley has been defending it more. Hopefully, if Nick Gage has it, he's going to defend it quite often. And I just hope they kind of start building some stories around the GCW World title. And I think with Jordan being involved with Nick Gage, it kind of adds a lot more story to that story being told. So, it was a good match, fun match. But as you said, I don't understand the booking on it. But that's why we're not the bookers. We just get to enjoy it. And I do enjoy watching Jordan picking up a victory with the Clout Cutter team title belt. And Jack Cartwheel has been proven in the ring since I first saw him. He was like really the first competitor I saw come out at a GCW show when I first went to my first GCW show. I think he had a match against, it's spacing me right now, but that was my first time seeing him. And since that moment till this match, like, you just see how much better Jack has gotten in the ring. So I was very much looking forward to this match. It was a very, very entertaining match. A lot of stuff going on in, out of the ring, before, during, and after match. So I really enjoyed this match. What was your thoughts on this match, John?
So both men were equal size, and I do believe that Cartwheel is just a touch smaller, but they work really well together. Cole's confidence is slowly showing. I don't know if how many people are really seeing that, but it's just his arms are open wider, his eyes are open wider, his mouth is open wider. He's smiling now. He's doing more things with his feet. He's doing more showman stuff. So we can really see that confidence coming out of Cole. And it's fantastic because I've watched his documentary, and one of the things that he struggles with sometimes is confidence. So I really do think this championship run so far has put confidence into that guy, and it really has been a big deal. Cartwheel doing cartwheel shit, cartwheels all over the ring, cartwheels on the floor, cartwheels on the entrance. It's fantastic. I really like the guy. I can't even help but smile when I mention his name. Anytime he's on the card has been fantastic, and I 110% agree with you that he has improved so much. And the first time I saw him was with Ninja Mac, and I'd like to see a rematch with him and Ninja because both have just grown so much over the past year. It'd be great. Yeah. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I'm right there with you too. I think Ninja Mac's another competitor that in the ring we see a lot less mess ups, a lot more cleaner matches. We see the growth that they've been doing, and I like. Not that the mess ups really matter because they are so like incredible and they are doing so much flippy stuff and impressive stuff in the ring. Where of course, yes, mistakes are going to happen, but I just really love seeing, as you said, the growth of Cole Radrick. Like his growth to me is more his charisma and in ring, just kind of showing how much fun he's having and playing to the crowd a lot better than what he was doing before. And Jack Cartwheel, I kind of think of the opposite, where he always had the kind of showman stuff with the cartwheel stuff where he's improved so much in the ring. And I just like seeing the two competitors grow and seeing their growth in this match. I think that's what made it very entertaining on my end because this had a lot of stuff in the ring, out of the ring. They teased the Cole Radrick doing the cartwheel at the beginning of the match. He's like, guys, I don't know how to do one. I'm sorry. Then
yeah.
The crowd starts booing him, and he's like, okay, I'll leave. And then they get into the match. It starts going on, and then after a couple moves, Cole out of nowhere just does a cartwheel right in front of him, and the crowd just pops and starts cheering. That's the kind of stuff like you were talking about, the confidence and like just that's Cole. Like, hey, I know what to do to get the crowd to pop. Let me just tease it here, say I can't do it, and then when I do it, the crowd's gonna pop. So that confidence is just, it's shining through Cole Radrick in every performance he's had since he's been the Extreme title holder. And I just love seeing it. And as you said, the run that he's been on as the Extreme title holder has been incredible. And it's just so fun to watch every match that Cole Radrick's been in.
I still feel like, because we were pushing the shit out of him at Las Vegas. I mean, me being our little group here, we pushed him so hard. I still feel like we kind of helped to propel him to at least get to become into the conversation, at least become a conversation piece when it comes to a championship run. And I feel like we did help in Las Vegas continue to push him upward and climb into that eventual spot where he's at now.
Yeah,
Cartwheel.
He was the only wrestler shirt I bought too at the Vegas show too. Out of all the wrestlers, like I always try to buy like one shirt or two things of merch. And yeah, Cole Radrick, I bought the like GCW shirt because they released a red one, but the only wrestlers shirt I bought was Cole Radrick's Ratty Daddy shirt. So yeah, I've been rooting for him out since then too. Like that was like right before we kind of started the podcast, where I was kind of seeing obviously this was the match they had with teaming up with Rena against the Mega Bastards, and we saw how great he was then. But this was like right at the time he started to get better and better, and we just seeing it happen in person was just fun to watch.
His likability really matters, and it can matter so much that there may be a point one day where he's getting beaten down, and we remember why a lot of us liked him to begin with, and that's because he was the underdog. He was the guy that you didn't expect to go out there and just kill it.
Yeah.
And now he is. So at some point when he's receiving a beatdown, it's going to be kind of fun to see how he recovers from that, because he does have this thing where fans want to fight for him. They almost feel bad. They're like, oh gosh, I wonder how he's going to get out of this. So at some point that will be interesting to see him revisit that portion of his character, because that portion of his character right now is not there. There was a really funny spot that I did want to mention where Cartwheel put on football pads and a helmet. He speared Cole, and that took a lot because Cole really did eat a hit from there.
Yeah, and I loved how before he hit Cole Radrick, when Jack Cartwheel went to go tackle him or spear him in the corner, Cole moved out of the way and Jack hits the ring post, but you just see the helmet go flying like 2 or 3 rows into the crowd. So that was a fun little spot. I like how they kind of called back to his football. That's what I was going to bring up. I'm kind of glad you brought up this box. I don't know how much football he's still doing, because I know like last year he was still doing college football, and I think he was like a running back or fullback. Yeah, so he wasn't during football season. He wasn't really wrestling because he was focusing on that. But then I think the reason we've seen the growth of him, not only that he's been doing it, but I think he's doing it way more now during football season, because I don't think he's playing football right now, and hence why we see him at this show and coming up shows. So I don't know exactly what his football schedule's like, but we definitely see the growth in ring because he has improved a lot. And it's been fun to watch him because he's already had the charisma and the cartwheel stuff kind of get him over with the crowd. And now he's putting it together with the in-ring work and psychology, how to control the crowd with his football spots or cartwheel spots. So it's just been very fun to watch these two grow. And this was a very, very fun match that I enjoyed every bit of it.
So our winner on this one was Mr. Cole Radrick. He hit a little Sebastian's curse on Jack Cartwheel. This was just another piece in the puzzle of Cole's dominating run right now. And I'm really happy it's sticking with him, and I'm happy he's defending it every show. I've said it before, and I'm probably going to say it again because I do appreciate these things. Now, this kind of segues into something just for a minute. We don't give GCW enough credit for not jumping the belts all over the place. They actually establish a champion, and they keep it on him, and they make him defend it, and so on and so forth. And I know that's kind of why people do complain a touch about Moxley, is because we're used to the quote-unquote GCW style of having a fighting champion. So having this fighting champion with Cole is just fantastic. It was a physical matchup, and I think with Cartwheel, you just need cardio. And Cole luckily backed that up by picking up his game, picking up his speed. This is the fantastic opener. Oh my gosh, I call this an opener. Yeah. This is just a fantastic match. I think it's because of the speed and because there was so many fireworks between these two. I think I must have considered an opener in my head, dude. Great show.
Yeah, it fits the bill for what the GCW opening matches because they always just want to come out hot.
Exciting.
Yeah, and get the crowd behind an exciting matchup. And this was fun. I loved every bit of it, and I definitely agree with you. I would want to see these two run it back at some point in the near future. That will lead us into our fifth matchup of the evening as All Heart Blake Christian goes one-on-one with Titus Alexander. And after seeing Titus go against Alex Zane in the last LA show at the Ukrainian Cultural Center, I think this was another good progressive step up in competition for Titus because I think he is at that spot now in his career where he needs to be facing some of these bigger names. And I think he's ready to take that step up, and hopefully with this match, we start seeing more of Titus on the GCW shows, either in the West Coast or maybe he can start traveling with them to the Midwest and East Coast and stuff like that. Cause I think Titus is right there with them. And I think this match against Blake Christian solidifies the point I just made of, I think he's ready to start having way bigger matches and being way more part of the GCW, just roster and shows in general. What was your thoughts on this match?
So I don't know if maybe Blake is just cutting because he is, lifting weights or whatever it is, but he looks like he may be losing weight. So I don't know if he's cutting fat or if he's gaining muscle, but whatever he's doing, it looks good. I was happy to see Titus. I love Titus. He's one of the guys that I said would be a fantastic heel in GCW. And he came back here and he didn't disappoint again. I love what he does. He's missing a microphone. I really do think that's his next step. So if and only if his schedule allows it, because let's be honest, his schedule just may not allow it. And it seems like when he's available, they do use him. But both of these guys did not allow any time for the other to breathe in this match. And I'm noticing that Titus does not wrestle like a young wrestler at all. And I think that's fantastic too. Off the top of my head, it just made me realize I really need to see Titus v. Deppen. It'd be great.
I'd be scared for the crowd. They'd just been both just taking turns grabbing the crowd's like cat or jewelry and just throwing it everywhere and just finding ways to terrorize the crowd. That would actually kind of be a fun match. So I would actually just for the in-ring work like to really see that too, because I think, as you said, Titus, I've said this before. I think him and Nick Wayne are just always going to be linked together. Like they're one of those two wrestlers that kind of grow up in the same business, kind of grown in popularity at around the same time. They're both super good and talented. And I've said since I saw these two that Nick Wayne is the one signed to AEW, but I think Titus Alexander is an all-around more polished wrestler. Looks very, very smooth in the ring. He's got his character down where he's just the asshole that everybody hates. And I honestly see a big and bright future for Titus Alexander. I think his nickname's what? The big thing or franchise? Like something that I forgot his name. It just I had it.
Yeah, he's got a great name. I can't remember what it is. We'll have to look that up.
Yeah, like next big franchise or something like that. And I absolutely think he's going to be carrying a company around in the future because he's in the ring. Like this matchup with Blake Christian, I was so excited just because the speed, the pace, and they have a very similar moveset and everything. So this match hit on all the spots, and I think it's perfect for Titus Alexander, another great opponent to show off just how really good he is at his young age.
So he's called the Future Franchise. It took me just a minute to kind of figure it out. I'm like, oh, what is that? Titus has excellent fundamentals. I think that is why you're putting him above, is because when it comes to a headlock, it's a more by the book headlock. If it's a, whatever, it's just more by the book. It seems like whoever it was, taught him well. And kudos to them for doing it. Honestly, I'd have to look that up and see.
I think it's his dad.
Got most. Oh, really?
Yeah, his dad was a former wrestler. I think his dad's name used to be like the Big Ugly, and his dad runs like the Ugly Dojo. That I know. That I know of, like for sure. Nice. It's the Ugly Dojo where they got a couple wrestlers out. I don't know where they are specifically, like where he lives, camp and stuff like that. But yeah, I know his dad trained him because I think I saw like his first match. Like it was recorded at the age of 6 or something like that, which is pretty crazy. And like just to see them at that young, like my son's 10 doing wrestling. I'm like, man, they're still a little bit too young at that age to be learning how to take bumps and all that stuff. But it's very good exercise and learn how to like coordination for your body and stuff like that. But yeah, that's where I think Titus is kind of grown fantastically in because he's been wrestling with his dad since 6 years old.
Yeah, and good job, Dad, because he's absolutely fantastic. I think Dad's got to be real proud of what the heck he's doing. There were not a lot of hiccups at all in this match. This is a great matchup. And yeah, here's another one where I could have seen it again. This is a really strong card that we had tonight, and it's really hard to put a couple matches over another because all of them were equally fantastic, but in different ways.
Yeah, and like these two they just gel together where everything just looks really smooth. And seeing Titus with his drop kick when Blake Christian tried to do a springboard back elbow into the ring, like the height that Titus got on, the height and timing that Titus had on that drop kick is just amazing. He has a pretty drop kick. Like it's up there in the wrestling industry as one of my top favorites to watch do the drop kick. Because he gets such height and elevation and he just looks so smooth doing it. And he does like different variations. He can do like the quick one. Like I like the one where he like really just snaps it and like he flips himself. Like kind of like how when he takes a clothesline, you see him kind of just as his body's rotating and does a backflip. It just like looks so smooth and in slow motion. And he hits the canvas like such a perfect timing. This was, very fun match. Another little detail I always have to mention during these Titus Alexander matches is Scarlett Donovan. He's always refereeing a Titus match, and the back and forth that they have always is every match. Like Scarlett's gonna keep control of the rules and make sure the match goes right, and Titus is like just having none of it. And like there's on this one, he went to go like kick, and she was still on the ground. I thought he was about to kick her in the face because it was a pretty close kick, and I just love their chemistry that they have as like a big asshole and a. Like, not just because she's a woman rep, but just like enforcing the rules of their chemistry that they have together is awesome. Where I think it adds more to the matches and stuff like that because he always finds some way to kind of go after Scarlett.
So there was that portion of time where Blake was kind of like a quote unquote heel. I would have loved to have seen from a booking standpoint him take on Titus at that time. I really do think they would have cheered Titus.
And that's a tough
Blake
part.
Had so much heat.
Titus kind of always gets like he comes out, gets the major heat. Everyone's flipping him off, and he just comes out, gives them like, I'm performing in front of you, ingrates. Like, what am I doing here with my life? But then he's so good in the ring where it's hard to root against him until he starts doing the dastardly moves that we kind of see him do or go after the ref like how he does. And I think he does use that as a very, not a crutch, but it's a very good way to get the crowd back against him when they start cheering him because he has like such a good feel for like when he's being cheered and when to turn it on. Cause like, I'll bring up another company when I mostly see him in his West Coast Pro. They had like a tournament a couple months ago or weeks ago, I think. And he had a match in the finals where the crowd was just nonstop behind him, and he played into it, played face the entire time. But when it came down to win, he found a way to get the crowd to hate him again. It's like, I did this for Not you assholes, for myself. Like I think that was the mic work that you said.
Fantastic.
The mic work that you said we want. I've only seen him really talk once, and it was during that promo as like a victory speech, and he killed it during that promo. So same thing. I would like to see him even a quick little promo. Hey, if he would have won, we haven't gone over the winner yet, but Blake Christian does pick up the victory with the curb stomp. But like, let's say he did pick up the victory, he could always just call someone out. It's like, this is what you got for me. Like, I'm as you said, the future franchise, and you send me in here with Blake Christian, who I just now beat, and Jordan beat. Like, give me some real competition. And I think throwing Jordan or Nick Wayne in there, like I wouldn't. When you were saying that Blake Christian was doing a little heel work, I thought that would have been a cool little thing of, hey, I'm better than you guys, but here's someone that's just as good as me that I'm taking under my wing to make sure that he doesn't have to suffer through what I had to suffer with you horrible fans and turning on me. Titus Alexander, boom, that would have been a cool little tag team or cool little story going against Jordan and Nick Wayne. Like, yeah, I definitely want to see that tag match now. I just kind of talked it out through my head, and I want to see it. But very good showing by Blake Christian and Titus, as Blake does pick up the victory with the curb stomp. That will lead us into the sixth match of the evening, which absolutely will make the LA crowd happy, since they're always cheering for blood and violence. As we have it was labeled, I think, as you had it too, I think it was labeled a hardcore match with Mance Warner going against Hunter Freeman. And just seeing these two and the styles that they worked, I was like, this is going to be one of those two drunk guys at a bar fighting over what song is played on the jukebox, because like these two just have a good look to them, and them going against each other, I think, added to the chemistry of the match. And we've kind of talked about Hunter Freeman. He's had a good match against Rob Shit here in LA, and in Atlanta he had the good death match with Alex Colon. And I think this was just another test for him, and boy, did he step up. This, in my opinion, I think I texted you or tweeted it out, and I know we were talking about it, but this was Hunter Freeman's coming out party, and what a party it was. Why don't you go, what was your thoughts on some of the violence that occurred during this match?
Okay, so I have to say out the gate, I love this matchup. The guy in me who used to watch all the old territory shit loves a Southern Boys fight. This was a Southern Boys fight. It was like the hard-ass veteran versus like a tough younger guy. Hunter came out fast and aggressive. He had all kinds of energy right up his ass from the get-go. He was the aggressor. I absolutely loved it. I felt like as strong as he was going to have to attack Mance, because Mance was going to be the guy here that it wasn't going to be an easy fight from the beginning. So I like how he came out with that attitude. That is a GCW attitude. I have to say that. We all know that. Hit the fucking nail on the head, hit it hard, make it count. That's what he did here. Hunter had a little spot where fans were voting between the screwdriver and the staple gun. He ended up using them both, but it ended up being on both men. So both men ended up getting cut open by the screwdriver, and then both ended up getting stapled. Warner got a 20 attached to his forehead, and then two other dollar bills stuck on him before that. So Warner goes home $22 richer. Freeman was really showing out tonight, working really freaking hard, dude. Really hard.
I think they made a mention during the Mance Warner getting that $22. Like, I think I forgot who was on commentary during this match, but I think it was MLJ. I could be wrong, but like, oh, that'll pay for his beer after this match. Like the $22, like, it's gonna go right to the beer money. I just love that little comment. Whoever said that on commentary, because that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, yeah, that'll buy a little 20-pack for him after the match.
And you're right. This was definitely Hunter's coming out party. He's a lot closer to becoming a regular, and we can tell because of a match like this. This was just Deppen and Mance kind of seem to have the same gatekeeper thing going on. And if it's not Cologne in the hardcore situation, it's going to probably then end up being Manser. This is what happened here. This match really solidified Hunter's spot on the card. So if he can continue to do this, fantastic. This is a West Coast show, and he made it, and he's from the East Coast. So I think that's also a testament to the fact that he's willing to do what he needs to do to get the hell out here and really do it. About 15 minutes into this match, I was starting to realize this is more of a serious match. I knew it was good already, but it was definitely more of a serious match. Manser was definitely more purposely stiff on Hunter, and I think it was worth it because it was about getting the fans' respect. But yeah, Mance was taking on an opponent that was definitely larger than him, and it still ended up being a fantastic show. that's a lot of notes and that's a lot of opinions, but outside of a fantastic beer break, I think that was about enough. That was about enough talking for me on that one.
Yeah, and this one, as you said, it went 19 minutes, which was it got the space to breathe, as we were talking on the last show. That some matches like to see the breathing, some matches, hey, you might not need the breathing, just go out there for 8 minutes and kill each other. But this one, as the match kept on going longer and longer, I was thinking like, hey, this is the kind of show that Hunter Freeman's able to get crazy, do all these the longer death matches. I think the one that him and Rob Shit had was one of those condensed like 10-minute ones that it was nice and fast. And this one got to tell way more of a story. They did add a lot of, like you said, the beer breaks, the staple gun spots and all that stuff, but it didn't just take away from the match where it felt like they were just trying to kill time. It added like the comedy to a match where I really like, because it's Mance Warner. Like we can't just always have serious Mance all the time. We got to have the fun, outgoing Mance. And all right, guys, let's take a break, enjoy a beer. All right, let's go back and kick each other's ass. Like I loved it. And I thought this Hunter Freeman, this was the perfect, I think, as you said, the two Southern guys just beating each other up. I love that thing because that's where I think the chemistry between the looks, the attitudes, and like the movesets that each wrestler did during the match, made it so entertaining. And this was right up there for me. I think I said the first match was the match of the night. This match is right up there with it because it was so entertaining. And Hunter Freeman, I think I even tweeted out, we need to see him at NGI after this. NGI. And I don't know how long ago it was announced, a couple days ago, I think. But because of this performance with Mance Warner in the death match, Hunter Freeman is in the NGI tournament, which I cannot wait to see. Even if he just gets eliminated in the first round, because he might be one of the lower names compared to everyone else on that card. Because as we were talking about, the deathmatch division so big in GCW, and these tournaments only have 8 wrestlers, where Hunter Freeman might be the lowest name based off a value-wise name, like the lower
for now going into it, because with that push for Mansour, I didn't want to cut you out there, but with that push for Mansour, just to touch there, Hunter may be coming in there the bottom of the night there, but we don't know what kind of push he might get coming out of it. We don't know. Cologne may be taking a break soon, and Murdoch's in and out quite a bit. God, Murdoch's just taking damage too. I don't know how long that takes. But I don't know, that just popped in my head for a minute there, where in the back of my mind I'm going, oh shit, he may come in there as the new guy, as the one but he may exit that place a whole other monster. There's a lot of potential in that dude.
Yeah, I can see kind of like how Cole Radrick, when he had the death match against Orin Veidt, that might be this might be his coming out party really in AC, because he could get over in LA, which is fine, but to get over in AC, that's another crowd that's tough to win over. And I think with a great performance, NGI, that's in Chicago, but that's still a great crowd for the violence in NGI.
He'll be well received.
Yeah. And I just think, as I said, the longer this match went, it felt like, hey, this is important. And as you said, this is probably Mance showing like, hey, if he can hang with me for 20 minutes, the kid will be just fine in any sort of match you want to put him in, and any competitor, because he's the real deal. And I love seeing it because he's so nice. We've talked to him a couple times. He reached out to us and talked to us at the one of the shows we went out to. So it was nice seeing Hunter Freeman out there. And I love seeing Mance Warner just bar fights that he's always in, because he's one of those. I said Jordan, because of the role he's been on, might be up there for the GCW title, the winner of Moxley versus Gage. I would love to see Mance Warner go against either of those two as well. And he's been on a run since he's been back. And now that it seems he's fully healthy from the leg injury, he's got quite a few matches underneath his belt to kind of show that he's healthy enough. I wouldn't mind seeing him get a little run or a chance at the title, let alone win it, because I think either of those two competitors, Mox or Gage, he would have a fantastic match. And
I think we're kind of a 90s crowd. Brett is also a 90s kind of person. I would not be surprised if we see more Stone Cold coming out of Mance, because of how much he sounds like Stone Cold.
I thought with him getting the match against Moxley, I thought that what might have happened after he kind of picked up the victory in the bunkhouse battle royal that they had for Ric Flair's last match. I thought that would have been a good time to, like a lot of people that did not know of Mance before then know of him now. So I thought that would have been a good time to capitalize on it. But Mance has still elevated his name with all the GCW spots. He Hell, he was on AEW against Moxley even. So I would like to see them run that back in GCW and in a death match. Because Matt Warner does pick up the victory during this match with a low blow and a quick roll up on Hunter Freeman for the victory. I cut you off there. What were you going to say?
No. I was laughing because I completely forgot we didn't announce the winner. This happens a lot. I don't know why. The one thing I remembered from this match was there was a lot of variety. Nothing was really repeated. I know they kind of went back to the stapler for a moment, but that was only because they had to get back to it. Mance put over Hunter huge. If Mance loves him and he's willing to do it, and the fans love him, I love him too. This was much more of a battle than I expected. The length was fantastic. This was the longest match of the night. And in my opinion, I agree with you. This was the best match of the night.
Yeah.
I love watching babies giving birth.
And we just
this was what it was.
We just might have found a new baby for NGI in Hunter Freeman, and I think he's going to kill it in NGI. I'm very interested to see who they're going to put in with him for the NGI for his first round match, because I think there's a lot of good options that he could go against. I think there's a couple of them where I don't know if I'd want to see it, just because stylistically one might be more of a innovator and high flying kind of a deathmatch wrestler, but I think Hunter Freeman, we've seen him, I think they called it like his redneck lucha or something like that he calls his hardcore style. Yeah. Like I like what Hunter Freeman does, because it just seems like, hey, I think he would fit in with SGC. Let me come in, kick some ass, and let's hang out afterwards and have a couple drinks.
I didn't think about that. SGC would be a good spot for him.
Yeah, that's why I was kind of like, but as this match ended, I was kind of like thinking, well, what if like Mance Warner gives them not a shirt, but like how they used to do in the day, but hey, here's a beer and here's like a hat or a belt buckle or a shoe. Like you come with us in SGC and kind of hang out with us, and we'll kind of help you, elevate you, and show you the ropes. But very fun match. I definitely know the LA crowd loved it because they love their violence, and they definitely got enough of it. That leads us into our 7th match of the evening, which is a scramble match, as Marcus Mathers, Jordan Cruz, Jimmy Lloyd, Eli Everfly, B-Boy, and Dylan McKay are the 6 competitors in the scramble match. And this is a typical scramble match. A lot of great competitors, a lot of great names I was cheering for. And the action was very good. The one thing for me is seeing B-Boy back, because I think this was his first match back since he had the match with Billy Starks a couple of weeks ago. And I talked about how incredible it was for me seeing that B-Boy come back out, because we haven't seen that B-Boy in a long time. And once again, he does come out as that B-Boy, and he stepped up to the plate during this match. It was a entertaining, once again, crazy quick scramble. It wasn't long, but I didn't think it needed to be long. And I think every wrestler got their stuff in, got to tell a story, and elevated themselves with the crowd. What was your thoughts on this match?
So I'm with you. I love seeing B-Boy. I want to get that right out front. Speaking of B-Boy, Mr. Jordan Cruz is also a student of B-Boy.
Yep, Hunter Freeman too.
And oh no shit, really?
Yep.
Oh no kidding. Wow. Cruz has a body and a face for TV. So I want to put it out there. If somebody wants to eventually hire a guy and they want to develop somebody and to look, he's got it. That's somebody you want to look at down the road, maybe. Eli Everfly, former SoCal Wrestler of the Year. It was nice seeing him. I think the last time we saw him was in Las Vegas. Wasted Youth, Mathers and McKay working together at times. It was nice seeing them. Another reason why I kind of realized it was 7 minutes was because these guys are moving so damn fast that it's just, and Jimmy Lloyd always there. And I'm so thankful he's always in these things. He seems like he's the cornerstone. Like you have to have that Jimmy Lloyd. He's the one. He's not in there for the flips and the flying. He's there to be flipped and flown upon. Mathers, to me, again, I will say it 100 times, he is a future star. Keep watching him. I don't know how long it'll be, but that guy right there needs to be watched. He will be somebody. It's just a matter of time. I'm watching this a lot of indie wrestling, and I'm starting to realize, after I've watched the newest version of the WWE, and then I watch indie wrestling, I think in time, the next step for WWE in the wrestling world may be to adapt more of the strong style. I think that they may have to do that because kids and audiences can't just sit there and watch and wait like they used to. We can't do it like they used to do 20 years ago. It's going to be hard for us to do it 20 years from now. So they will have to adjust style. WWE style sometimes is punch and then sit for 8 to 15 seconds. Kick, stand for 18 to 50, you know. So I hope that really does change, because the more I'm watching this and the more I watched Raw not too long ago, I go, shit, I think they need to just to get a little more of that strong style in. And I know what it does to the body, so that kind of bugs me. So I think somewhat of an adaptation, not a full. Lots of incredible top rope offense by many competitors, and B-Boy walked into this ring like a veteran. I love his demeanor. Just as you were saying, I love B-Boy with an attitude.
Yeah, and we talk about confidence all the time. B-Boy, I know this one, like, he's been recovered from his injury for about a year. I think he tore his Achilles or did something with the foot. It was like a lower leg injury, and he did miss a lot of time. And I know when he did make his first match come back, it was kind of a nice little surprise. Didn't do too much then, but because I think he was still nursing that injury. And for the longest time, even after that, I noticed, yeah, he wasn't 100%, but after that match with Billy Starks and seeing how he came into the ring with this one, I think the injury is fully healed. And I think him knowing that he could have one of these matches and not worry about further injuring his leg or having it bother him during the match, I think that's given him the confidence where now we're seeing the old B-Boy come back and just be the new age Punisher that he is. Because I love B-Boy. I loved him, like I said, back in Ring of Honor, and it's nice seeing we're seeing that kind of version of B-Boy in GCW, which I love seeing. Wasted Youth, I wouldn't mind seeing them thrown into this tag division a little bit more often, because they are just incredible. They got great chemistry. I think where Marcus Mathers maybe kind of is not as strong with the high flying, Dylan McKay makes up for it. And where Dylan McKay kind of not as charismatic or not have he kind of has the emo look and stuff like that, but I think they both counteract each other's negatives and with their positives, and they just do a great job of kind of filling in for each other where the other one seems to be lacking. And I definitely want to see them more in GCW ring. And I like seeing Dylan McKay, because whenever he does the outside, just like kind of like, I forgot the name of it, like he just does like the sideways rolling out of the ring, but in the air to the outside is just crazy, because he gets so many rotations on his flying outside, and the wrestlers did a very good job catching him on this one. And I liked how Marcus Mathers pulled down the rope to kind of help him get over that rope. Going to your Jordan Cruz. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Jordan Cruz. He has the look. I still think he needs a little bit more in-ring and more charismatic stuff. He's kind of reminds me of a better in-ring person, but a lot of the character and style of like old Chris Masters, because he's got the absolutely stunning chiseled look of a like Lex Luger would be like another example. He's got the look, but in ring does way more impressive stuff than those two did. But I just think he needs to get a little bit more better with the pacing.
He's a project.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's going to that is a diamond in the rough for B-Boy and his wrestling school, because that is what you look for in a wrestler. A lot of people look for that kind of look, just to look at a wrestler, and then he's got a lot of agility and a lot of potential. Like, that's the one thing that comes to my mind, potential. And once that's untapped and he can find a great character, because I know he kind of, when I see him not in GCW, he kind of has like a gladiator kind of gimmick.
Yes,
he just, and he's got the look. Yeah, he's got the look for, so it works good. But I think once he can learn how to present that way better and just kind of polish up in the ring, I think the future is bright for Jordan Cruz, because he's impressive in the short spurts that we've seen him, and the more growth that he's going to be making a lot of companies very happy using him.
So our winner of the night was B-Boy with a Storm Cradle Driver on Eli Everfly. They called it the Delay Gato. I want to make sure I say that right, and that's kind of why I said the winner here, was because I got that little thing. I think it's Delay Gato. I'm not 100%. You may be more of a fan than me. I know that one. Maybe not.
The name of it, no.
Okay, yeah. But Mathers really freaking worked his ass off in this match, and it was a busy 7 minutes. That's my wrap up on that one, man. It was just wow.
A fun.
We spent more time talking about the match because it was that good.
Yeah, and all the competitors, like I said, that's whenever we see like how we saw in Atlanta, the scramble match was 6 people we never knew of. that's always fun seeing new competitors and what they could do. But it's also very nice seeing six names or however many names in the scramble that I am familiar with. Because then I kind of like, as the entrances are happening, planning out in my head, like what's going to happen, who should win, what kind of crazy shit we're going to see, what fun spots are we going to see. And this, as you said earlier in this podcast, it felt like a normal LA normal GCW wrestling show, and this was I agree with you, and this match kind of solidifies that because it's all names that most of the GCW fans are aware of and kind of know what to expect during these matches. But B-Boy, I'm so glad he got the win. I wouldn't mind seeing him once again kind of get another little bigger spotlight in a one-on-one match and kind of continue his hot streak he's been on, because it's been fun seeing him have the confidence and kind of get back to his old form. So very good job. Very nice seeing B-Boy get the victory over Eli Everfly. One thing too with Eli, so sorry, and you might not know it, but it just always kills me. Every time I see Eli in LA, he is probably the most hated wrestler in that show. Like everybody's
you don't know why kind of thing.
Fuck the fly. They're booing him. Like I don't know much of Eli other than what I've seen in GCW. But I know he is a SoCal like wrestling, not legend, but he's always a big name on the SoCal wrestling scene. I don't understand the hate for him, where I kind of do. He kind of has a little cocky attitude, the fly gimmick and stuff, but like his moves and his in-ring stuff is so creative and like that's defined. He does like a lot of these moves where he lands right on his head. It's like he just gives zero fucks about it. Like, wow, why do they hate him so much? But it just that was just one thing I forgot to say. Like the LA crowd, someone's gonna have to explain to me the history of why you guys hate Eli Everfly so much, because every time I'm there, he gets the loudest moves and it's nonstop on everything that he does, and I just never knew why.
Well, you never know. It might just be the cool thing to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like people like us may just be booing because like everybody else is booing.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the one thing I wanted to mention with Dylan was I see it, but I'm hoping he's considering maybe growing out and changing his character, because there's an age where you grow out of things like that, like an emo character. You can't keep your hair like that at 55 or 30. You know what I mean? So I think at some point, maybe, it needs to be brought back, or maybe just a different, because I mean, I understand that character when or if the times were still like they were, or if he was still 18 to 22, but now I don't think it fits his age. And I really hope he goes into a new character, because it would be the next step forward for him too, because Dylan's freaking good.
Yeah, his flying, his high flying is what gets me, because he's just so creative and he just goes balls to the wall with it. Like I said, that tumble move, I forgot there was a name for it, and I actually kind of like the name, but I totally am spacing it right now. But he just does like a sideways, like parkour, kind of like what John Morrison does, or Johnny Game Changer, whatever. He does he does this, not a normal like 450 going forwards, turns his body sideways and does like a 450.
Oh yeah,
moving the body sideways. He does that all the time, like on top of the rope to the outside, to the inside, or going from the outside, just jumping over the ropes and doing it. Like he hits it all the time, and it's just so crazy how he can get his body to move that way. And I like it because it's an impressive move. We don't see it quite often. Like I said, I couldn't at first think of another wrestler, but Johnny Game Changer is another one that we see kind of do it. And I do like the Wasted Youth. I think there's a lot of not wasted potential, but a very bright future in Wasted Youth. Better lack of words. And that will lead us into our 8th matchup of the evening, as Jonathan Gresham makes his GCW return, going against Nick Wayne. And going into this match, before you told me that Nick Wayne was hurt a couple podcasts ago during his match with Joey, this was for me the match I was looking forward to the most, because I want to see what Nick Wayne could do with a technical master like Gresham, because we don't really see a lot of Nick Wayne's ground game. We see a lot of transition work that he does, and he does a lot of very clean transitions on the ground, and with his move sets and how he hits that fisherman suplex and pops it up with the bridge. Like I love seeing that, and I was really interested to see how this match would go. So I was super excited, but as you made mention on the podcast, and I heard it here, but I didn't know that that's what it was from. And I saw the tape on Nick Wayne's arm. They also mentioned that Gresham came into this match hurt as well. Yeah, so we didn't really get to see a full on Nick Wayne, Jonathan Gresham match. It was very short. and both competitors were hurt, and I think that kind of is why it was so short. I ended up being a little disappointed in the match just based off of that, and I want to see them run it back a 20-minute, give them the time, 100% healthy, just to see what Nick Wayne could do with Jonathan Gresham in the ring, because I don't think, as a fan, for me, I didn't get full experience, which is fine. We got a little taste of it at least, and they still went out and put on a decent match, but the injuries, I think, kind of hurt this match, in my opinion.
Okay, so I'm a music person. I have a background in music. I ended up going to school on a scholarship for music. I hear Gresham's song, and it's in the key of the Neverending Story. No shit. If you go back and listen to it, and you will hear the Neverending Story, and it just never gets to that point. But it's in the same key, and I hear it, and it bugs me enough to make a note on it. Okay, so we see Gresham quite a bit. Why have we not seen Jordan Grace? I would like to know more about that. I'm sure it's contractual. What do you know about that?
Well, we saw her once. She did wrestle against, I think it was against Alley Catch once in Atlanta, and that kind of makes total sense because it's Jonathan Gresham's hometown, and that's what I'm going to assume where they live. But yeah, I'm right there with you. Like, she's one of those names we talk about that could help elevate the women's division, especially if they bring in a women's title, where I want to see her more than just that one time. I think she could bring a lot in, especially, and as you said, contractual. She is the Impact Women's Champion now, I think it is, and it's pretty cool though. Kind of a little sidetrack of seeing Masha Slamovich going against her. We kind of get to see a little GCW versus Impact on Impact, but it is very nice seeing one of our own up in Impact and wrestling against them, because it was very cool seeing Masha get that match, and then kind of they called in Alley Catch to go against Jordan again. So I do like how that was happening, but as we were discussing yesterday, I think that is a perfect name to bring into the women's division whenever Jonathan Gresham's going to be there, and kind of helping Jordan Grace elevate the entire women's division with that marquee name that you were saying. And I think that was a great call out by you, was why can't we get Jordan Grace a little bit more than we have?
Yeah, I mean, come on, just travel together. It's no big deal. And they probably prefer to if they could. So I'm sure it's contractual or whatnot. Extremely fast paced. I know I mentioned that with a lot of fast paced matches, but this was extremely fast paced. These guys fucking went at it. And I think that Gresham, for his size, what was really keeping him on pace, and the youth of Nick Wayne was what really kept him on that pace. The match started with a fantastic amount of chain wrestling. I really enjoyed that a lot. And this was the first match I'd noticed that Gresham doesn't wear knee pads. I know it's kind of weird. I find that odd, but he didn't wear knee pads in this match. And I don't know, maybe I'm missing something, or maybe they got taken off in the first minute and I didn't see it. But that was one thing. And the other thing I wanted to point out, because it bugs me, and if it means something to someone who actually hears it, great. And if not, fine. But we do need somebody at ringside to clean up drinks and spills. I want to say that 100 times, because I actually saw a point where you could see, I think it was Allie in this main event, but somebody was going over to a side, and they were just like, okay, I'm not going to do it over here. And they had to walk away from that side of the ring because that side had just drinks spilled. And yeah, I mean, there's always people there. There's local talent that would love to carry a towel and go over there and just clean it up, so Speedball or somebody doesn't end up on their ass.
What I always think about too, is a Speedball. Like, especially after the death match, because I've only seen him maybe once or twice have a match following a death match, and like right away you see him coming to the ring. He's like, okay, we gotta get that spot. Like, he's always the competitor I think about the most, because he wrestles barefoot. So that's kind of funny.
I think it's because he's early on the card. That's another reason why he's early on the card, is because he doesn't want to be fucking with splinters, glass, all that other shit that's out there. You're right. I was surprised it's only 8.5 minutes, but once you started to focus a little bit more on both of them being injured, then it makes a hell of a lot more sense. These two should have been given 15 minutes breathing time. Main event. Nick is kind of new to a main event, but given 18, 19, 20 minutes, they could have done it.
I think he would have too. Like, as you said, like, now that we're aware that the injuries happened, I think that might have been in the cards, or given a longer time than what this was, because that's what kind of took it away from me, was seeing that this was a short match and both of them were injured. I just kind of felt not cheated because at least we got to see him. It was actually more of a, hey, here's an appetizer of next time that they are fully healthy, we will run this back and you will get the main course, the entree of everything, and we will let this one play out, and you can see exactly what they're capable of. Because I just was disappointed in the timing, but it just sounds like injuries happen and it sucks. But hopefully in the near future we can get these two.
Well, it's just the average match for both of these guys. Like, let's just say out of 10, if the average match is a 5, both Nick Wayne and Gresham are held to a much higher standard.
Yeah.
And both of them injured still put on a hell of a match alone as a wrestling match. But yeah, we have a certain amount of expectations and so on and so forth. And I get that, but I'll tell you what, just for the fact that it was them was the only reason why we had higher expectations, because if this was a WWE match, it'd have been close to the match of the night.
Yeah.
You know, so I kind of look at it that way, and I appreciate that they both went out there injured and did it too. I considered it a good co-main event given the circumstances. I was happy they did the little handshake at the end, and of course, I really enjoy seeing them both work together. So the more we can see them, fantastic. I think that those two have a match in them that we haven't seen yet.
Yeah, this was one of the matches I was looking forward to the most, just because of just off the names alone, and like I said, I wanted to see Nick Wayne go, but once I saw the arm tape and then I heard the injury, I was like, oh, I wonder where he got injured. I didn't know that until you brought it up to me when we recorded the podcast, but it all makes sense now. And it just, I just feel I want to see it as soon as they're both 100%, because with Gresham, he kind of never know when he's going to be wrestling or when he's taking a break, which is absolutely fine. Take care of what you need to take care of. But I am a huge fan of Jonathan Gresham, and I always want to see him in a GCW ring, because I think his styles and the matchups that he's been having against Blake Christian, he's got upcoming against Jordan Oliver this weekend, which I am absolutely stoked for. I just hope that we get 100% of mental. I just hope Jonathan Gresham is 100% mentally ready and physically ready. That way we could get this matchup with Nick Wayne, because I think it could be a fantastic match. As you said, it could be a main event, because when I first saw the card for this match for this night, this was a match of the night for me, and disappointed, but now I am very much looking forward, because Nick Wayne held his own when this 8-minute match. He looked very smooth, and for being injured, it was awesome that he could still do such a great, pull off a short, great match with Gresham being injured. And that's just a testament to both of how good they are. And I just want to see both of them 100% and in a GCW ring as soon as. And that will go into Jonathan Gresham. Gresham does pick up the victory, as he had like a modified figure 4 leg lock on Nick Wayne to get the victory. I was kind of hoping he would have done like kind of like an arm bar, but I think after the first match, the way that arm bar kind of ended the night, I thought maybe he could have done the arm bar on Nick Wayne since his arm was hurting. So I'm kind of glad they did switch up and not just run a same ending on 2 different matches throughout. That heads us into our main event of the evening, which is another GCW title match, this time for the tag team titles, as the champions, the Mega Bastards, Alex Colon and John Wayne Murdoch, go against Team Bussy. And I was actually kind of surprised we get to see this match again because of Art of War Games. I thought maybe these 8 teams, or however many teams, I forgot however many teams were in that, the 5 or 6 teams that were in that match. I was kind of thinking they'd all kind of go their separate ways, start having different matchups, because leading into Art of War Games, we saw these same combinations of those 6 teams kind of be put in matches together. So seeing this right off the bat, it does make sense though, because Team Bussy never did get their quote unquote rematch. Win back their titles. I know GCW doesn't really follow that all the time. Sometimes they will say that, but I'm not going to complain seeing this match again. I definitely won't complain seeing him all against each other again at some point, but I just think right afterwards was kind of too soon for my taste. But of course, they went crazy. We had a lot of weapons, a lot of action everywhere, and they definitely made this match main event worthy with all the destruction that they did to each other. What was your thoughts on this match?
Okay, I must admit, I think the Mega Bastards sounds like a Transformers group. I don't know why. It's like, if they were more grown up, I think that the Decepticons and the Mega Bastards would have to fight for something. I just don't know what it would be. The The Bastards really work well together. No shit. I don't know if they're still playing up like they don't like each other here and there, but it seems like they're really getting along well most of the time.
Alex Cologne's even wearing the vest, even. That's what kind of makes me like, I was thinking that same thing that you were thinking, but as soon as I saw Alex Cologne start wearing the vest, I'm like, oh, they are pretty friendly now. Maybe they put aside their differences and are going to start working well together as a team, because we saw the first time they teamed against each other in Vegas where that did not end up the way that we all, well, probably ended up the way we all thought it would have ended, with Alex Cologne turning on John Wayne Murdoch and hitting him with the light tubes. But I do like to see them kind of as a cohesive unit in the ring, but still have their differences outside the ring, like on their name and on the vest and all that stuff. So I like kind of like the good guy, bad guy feeling of a tag team, because they do work together in ring as a team, and they tell a good story outside of the in-ring action, as they don't really like each other as a team.
And so these two guys that don't get along, they eventually find common ground, and it is in the fact that as a team, they wear purple. I found that fantastic. Yeah. These two tough guys, and they pick purple. And of course, because of the belts, and that's representative, I think it's fantastic. I just thought it was funny when I didn't quite get it at first.
I get it now. I never caught that. That they wear the purple because that's the purple tag team belts. Good catch. I like it.
Yeah, and there's so many hardcore tag team titles across the globe. I would like to see possibly more of them come into GCW, maybe for fun. We have so many death matchers, and we have so many awesome people that also can wrestle, that it would be cool to see some of these people come over here on a bigger stage and maybe do it. Effie has some serious cupping marks, and I only announced that just because it was kind of a funny little thing to say.
Dick Wayne had a lot too.
Oh man, yeah, he was covered in them. Not as many weapons or bleeding in this match, which was kind of interesting because normally it is between these two teams. Cologne and Alley, though, they did take serious beatings. They were the ones that really earned their check that night. A lot of Bussy chants, and Bussy was farting really hard. They were fighting really hard for those belts. That's what I think. What's your opinions on this one?
Oh, it was fun. It was, as you said, they didn't bring out as many weapons as I thought as well, knowing all four of these competitors, especially the Mega Bastards, and how violent they like to get. So, yeah, Alley Catch and Alex Cologne definitely. I think John Wayne Murdoch's like, hey, I took my ass kicking in London, in Liverpool. It's your turn, Alex. Like, I need a break. Like, I like that kind of. That's what I felt during this match. Is like John Wayne's still trying to recover, because this was like shortly after that Liverpool shows. So I know they had a lot of traveling with that, and a lot of injuries that came along with those, just based off of all the violence that they had in their matches in Liverpool. So, this was fun. I do very much like the team of Alex Cologne and John Wayne Murdoch. Like I've said a couple different times, I know Alex Cologne seemed like he was about to take the big break. Maybe he's still going to, but I kind of like this, him and John Wayne Murdoch holding the tag team titles, kind of extending his stay before he takes his break, and we get to see more of him.
Yes, yeah.
I just, it's same thing as with all wrestlers. He just seems a lot more happier than what he did when he was talking about, hey, I'm going to be taking the breaks and stuff. It is nice seeing him enjoying himself. And I will have to say this. I think this for LA, I could be wrong. I think that's the second or third time Alex Cologne has been in LA, like during one of these shows.
Yeah, he's not a traveler on some of that.
And he wants to, though. He always talks about that in the podcast. Like Stephen A. Like, hey, you going to be in Vegas? Like our time in Vegas. That was the first time I think he's been in Vegas during that event. So I think I'd love seeing him all the time. So I just know that they're like, hey, how come you're not going to be on the show? He's like, I don't know. Talk to the booker, man. I'm sitting here. I'm ready. I want to go to Vegas. Like, I know he really wanted to go against Rena in Vegas, but he had that in a tag match at least. I just love, I love the team of the Mega Bastards because they're so good with their in-ring style, but they are kind of very different in the way they do it, everything. But they're like two of the top deathmatch wrestlers in the world for a reason, and them holding the tag team titles is just very fun seeing how much they've been defending them too, because Alley Catch and Effie, I think they had a great run with the tag titles. I'm kind of glad. I'll go into the ending. The Mega Bastards do win, so I am kind of glad they kind of did not win the tag team titles, because as we talked about, I think maybe there could be the time for them to kind of do their own little thing here. But I think as a kind of a way to maybe start wrapping up Team Bussy of, hey, here's your tag, here's your rematch, and then we got something planned for you guys as singles competitors, not as a team. But whenever they need to throw them in together as a team, it's always there for the taking. So I kind of like the flexibility that they have with that. And yeah, this was a fun match. This was perfect for the UCC crowd.
So I was surprised there was minimal blood. That's kind of just a little bit of my wrap up on that one. It was a good defense by the Mega Bastards. Again, I'm happy that the title stays in one place and it gets consistently defended. The champion means the champion. I like that. And I will echo again, Allie's best foot forward as a wrestler has been in Bussy. And I hope it kind of stays that way, because when she has to be serious and put down the damage, she can take it and put it down. So I really do like that. Now, here we go. I've got 2 great questions for you. You ready for your thinking cap? We haven't done this recently.
Hold on, let me put it on best.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
We're good.
All right, here we go. So the first question is, Cologne will be taking a break soon. Who did they drop that title to? Who did they drop those belts to? In your eyes, who carries?
I really wish Los Mesinos had a better run, longer run. That's my first answer, because I don't think that. I really think that. Well, they kind of all hot potatoed that title, like for those couple of shows right before it got into the Art of War. My first one is Los Mesinos. I want to see Los Mesinos a lot more, and I think
that was my answer.
Yeah, but
just FYI, yeah. Okay, and for our second question, so when it comes to thinking about how I say, and we agree with how a person can get on the microphone and it enhances who they are. It brings out more of the character, so we get to know more of who they are. And I think we can also agree there are some characters that are best stayed off of a microphone, like Kane, for instance, back in the day, was somebody you didn't want on a microphone. He was the big red machine at one point, and he was just out there for destruction. Now, knowing all of this and with that setup with Cologne, do you think he's better with or without a mic as a character?
Without, because kind of when he was their whole spiel when him and John Wayne Murdoch were having their thing, it just seemed like always Alex Cologne was like, I'm the one that's here. You have to work all the time because you're not as good as I am. You're quantity over quality, and I might wrestle a third of the time that you do, and I'm quality over quantity. I don't need to bust my ass. And then, like, it just seemed like it was always that, where he was always like saying, like, I don't have to wrestle as much as you do because I'm better than you. And it just seemed like it was always like, this is my house, this ain't your stuff. I don't know. I didn't really like it. The only one I kind of liked, but then it kind of like crossed and blurred the lines, was when he originally beat John Wayne Murdoch and grabbed his shit and threw it in the ring. And it's like, get the fuck out. Like, I loved that intensity. I absolutely loved that intensity. And it blurred the line. And I was like, damn, did he just like really just disrespect John Wayne Murdoch like that? But then the next couple promos that, like, when he came out afterwards, when John Wayne Murdoch, I think that's when he hit KG, and like the locker room, Alex Colon came out. The locker room had to hold Alex Colon back because Alex Colon couldn't wrestle that night. He was like medically unclear, he wanted to get in the ring, and they had to hold him back. I didn't like those promos too much. It just seemed like. Just seemed a lot of it was forced, but that original promo, I loved the intensity and like how it blurred the line. So he can talk, but I just think I'd rather see him in a ring than talking.
Gotcha. Because for me, it seems like he's the quiet storm. He's the guy that if you're going to go into GCW, you have to go through him. And I think the less you know about him, the more you see in the ring, I think the more you get the point of his character.
But then when he speaks, it gives it a way more value because it matters what he's saying. Like, wait a minute, we don't hear from him. He's the god of our, well, not the god of our stuff. That's Nick Cage. But like, he's right now the key. Oh, that's Nick Cage as well. He's the leader of our deathmatch division. So like, we only really see him delivering the violence, but he's always nice and quiet. But when it's time for him to speak, it's going to have a lot of power behind his words. And I do like that factor for sure. But this
did we announce the winner?
Yeah. Mega Bastards. Oh, we did? Just in case, though. Mega Bastards did pick up the victory as John Wayne Murdoch had a submission on Alley Catch for the victory and for the Mega Bastards to retain their tag team titles. And that will be the wrap of, or the last match of the night. And this was a very fun show. It did, as you made mention, it felt good to be back home in the States. especially at the UCC.
Yeah, dude.
Like
Yeah.
it felt very nice, even though this was a one-stop shop where they did this one show and then they go to Japan. It was very, I think it was a very good breath of fresh air. Hey, we're back home. Familiar breath of fresh air. It kind of felt like, hey, we didn't lose our roots. We kind of had fun over there. Not that anybody was thinking that. It just, after 3 shows somewhere else, it kind of felt nice for them to be back somewhere familiar that we see all the time. And I definitely think it ended up turning into a pretty good card after it sounded like it was going to be a rough night with travel issues and other things. I definitely think the action of the night made up for any possible things that could have gone wrong. It was a great card. I loved it. I actually, last couple LA shows, I've been really liking it. The Joey, the Heartbreak and Hotel, like after the rioting that the Joey caused, the next couple LA shows kind of felt a little different, where this one felt very, very fun, and I enjoyed every second.
So I think this was like a vacation going to England, but it's nice to come home and sleep in your own bed when it's all over with. I think that's what was going on. We're like, okay, they've been out there, but then when they get settled back at home and they're tired, it still felt great, and it was still really fun to watch, and I really enjoyed this show, and the similarity, the familiarity felt like home.
Yeah, I 1000% agree. And we got to see a lot more competitors than what we did in Liverpool, because obviously they didn't bring not that they don't even have a roster, but like we always say, they're regulars, they're normal traveling crew. Like they didn't bring everyone that we saw like on this show in Liverpool. So it was nice to see Hunter Freeman, those two, Maldito and Archangel. It was nice seeing them like for the first time. It was just being introduced to those guys. It was very nice seeing Jack Cartwheel and those people that we see at GCW all the time, usually back in a GCW ring at the Ukrainian culture. And that will lead us into our memorable moments of the evening. John, I'll let you go ahead and go first.
Okay, so I'm going to repeat myself, but I think it's worth mentioning. We do not give enough credit to GCW for not bouncing around those belts all the time needlessly. And I just wanted to touch on it again. I think it just needs to be said more. I don't know the reasoning for it. Maybe they just say, look, it's going to stay on you, and that's just how it's going to be. I don't care. I just like the fact that it's there. It's being defended. We have fighting champions. That's all I really care about, as long as there's somebody I can get behind too, because I like to always have somebody I give a shit about as the flag carrier. The opening match was fantastic. Between the Archangel and Ultimo, the brothers, they each have only 8 years of experience. So, wow, almost 9, but 8 right now. The Cole Radrick match, the Radrick match with Cartwheel. Wow, I think I've gotten tired over the last since we've talked. The Cole Cartwheel match was fantastic. The co-main events, I see why they were called that, because Gresham should have been almost a main event. Say if he wasn't injured, maybe they would have bumped it up there. But the last match of the night too, with the Bussy thing, that was very close to a main event, but to me it didn't feel like a full main event. So having a co-main event here made sense, and I think booking understood that too. And the last one of the night, the last one of the night, Hunter Freeman's coming out party. We have a new baby at GCW. Not just, we have somebody stopping through. No, we have an accepted member by the staff, by the fans. So welcome in, Hunter. Stay a while, bro.
Yeah, I think too, like that we don't really see them kind of grow deathmatch wrestling. Like from my opinion, like the only 3 I've actually seen them like, hey, grow as deathmatch wrestlers through GCW was Cole Radrick, number 1. Drew Parker a little bit, because he's been always doing the deathmatch wrestling stuff. But seeing Hunter Freeman, kind of like, I don't see him doing these deathmatch. Well, now we kind of see him doing deathmatch wrestling in some of these other companies that we're aware of. But for the majority, we haven't really seen him do death matches in other company except GCW, because kind of seeing like homegrown deathmatch talent and Cole Radrick and Hunter Freeman kind of growing and elevating their status, participate in these tournaments for their first time or their second time, and to kind of see how much they've evolved and grown as we started cheering to see more of them. So I did like that kind of part of Hunter Freeman kind of growing up in front of our eyes, especially for like the West Coast version of the East Coast Cole Radrick kind of seeing his growth and stuff like that. It's very nice seeing Hunter Freeman doing that for deathmatch for GC.
Rena, before I forget it,
Yep.
Rena's another one where we kind of helped birth her. She was somebody who was in the deathmatch scene, but if I'm correct, I think it was Cologne that said before she went out, or right after she was finished with her win at the Las Vegas show, she had never won a death match against a male.
Yep.
And she was just through the roof. And also the fans at that show was just so absolutely through the roof about her.
Yeah.
That I guess she was just ecstatic for the next, I don't know how many days, because she did not have any idea of how she was going to go over here and how well it was going to go over. So I would say let's definitely put her in the boat too, as somebody who we have taken under our wing, and she has grown, and we trust her so much. She went off to another continent with the belt. That's pretty, that's saying something.
And like she kind of has, like, I think of the year, the two biggest pops I could think of that I've seen was Rena beating Alex Colon. That pop was incredible. And Cole Radrick, the pops that he got, like his coming out party for the death match that he had with Orin Veidt. It's been like, those are two great coming out parties where it's like Rena probably got the pop of the year that I think from winning that belt, because it was so cool seeing the crowd that fully behind her. And then her actually winning was kind of a shock to a lot of people, because of that fact you just said, where, hey, like she's going to be going back to Japan and they don't let her win in Japan, and you're giving our belt to her to be over there. Like, what's going to happen? But they trust her. They trust what's going on out there, and hopefully some changes are being made, because Rena's pop out here is definitely one where we want to see her all the time and see her win, because she's been earning it and killing it. So it's been nice to see her get that reaction. I will head into my memorable moments. I'll just kind of touch base real fast just on each match, because like I think each match has something that I kind of want to say just to end off the night. Seeing Davino and Maldito go against each other, please. We need to see them back either one-on-one again, or throw them into the scrambles and see what they could do with Gringo, ASF, and all the other amazing talent that GCW has been putting in these scrambles, because I would definitely want to see those two in a GCW ring. Starboy, Janela going against South Pacific Savages. I kind of just really hope that this cage match in LA the next time they're out there is the finality of it. Hopefully we can see Starboy kind of get bigger one-on-one matches and kind of elevate himself and keep that progression that has had over the last few months since his return. And hopefully the South Pacific Savages with Toa Leona now, they can kind of go on a savage tour, just destroying the GCW locker room. And kind of saying it's our house and stuff like that. I think that they can do a lot of stuff with that. Jordan, nice seeing Jordan get another victory over Kevin Blackwood, keep up his momentum. Hopefully all these wins will turn into something here in the near future once we get a winner of Moxley and Gage. Cole Radrick, Jack Cartwheel, just seeing two competitors, seeing them grow and get way more confident in their abilities, and seeing it happen in front of us and during this match was fun. This was a nice, fun match, and it just seeing the growth of these two competitors is awesome. Titus getting a big match against Blake Christian. He definitely held his own, definitely proved that he belongs in a GCW ring, or any other ring for that matter, but selfishly in a GCW ring, and I want to see more of him. Same thing kind of as Starboy, seeing him kind of have bigger fights and gets bigger names and see where they keep on growing from then. The Southern Boy death match of the night. Mance Warner absolutely killed it. Hunter Freeman, welcome to NGI. Can't wait to see what you could do there.
Right, baby.
Scramble match, seeing old B-Boy. I love seeing old B-Boy coming back, and same thing confidence-wise. We can see the confidence in him and how much he's not improved, but fully healed, and get to see the old B-Boy and how he used to do. Jonathan Gresham, Nick Wayne, I just want to see that one again. 100% healthy and given way more time. And I know the time was based off their health, so nothing they could do with that. Good way, though, to give us a little appetizer whenever they do announce that match again. We know what to expect, and it's going to be a fun match. And the Mega Bastards retaining the titles, the tag team titles. I'm glad. I want to see Team Bussy kind of do their own thing now, go out and fight for their different belts, or have these keep on having crazy dream matches and keep killing it as singles competitors. And as needed, bring them back to kind of reunite Team Bussy. I would just want to see what they could do now that they've kind of did the tag tag title run and face a lot of different competitors and help elevate the tag titles, I would kind of like to see them elevate each other in singles competition. But fantastic show. I loved it. That was a great show. Once again, I'm kind of mad I didn't go to that LA show, but I have now definitely got tickets to the next LA show that they announced during this card. They will be back in LA on October 29th, right before Halloween. And I will definitely be at that one and watching the South Pacific Savages and Joey Janela in a cage match. Thank God it's in a cage because I will feel more safe watching it. He has to get out of a cage before he could get to me on the out. And that will be it for GCW Plant Podcast episode 26. We will be covering Japan show, the 3 Japan shows that they had. We don't know yet if we're going to put them out separately or just do one big one because they were a lot shorter shows and we are still trying to play catch up right before Fight Club this weekend. So let's keep an ear out. Let's look on Twitter. We'll announce if we're going to just do one mega show or 3 little mini shows. But we are playing catch up and we're almost there because I cannot wait to watch the Fight Club shows this weekend and discuss all that on future episodes once we're all caught up. But next few episodes, we will be covering GCW's tour of Japan, as they had 3 shows out there. They had Planet Death, Dead on Arrival, and War Ready. Oh, they actually had 4 shows because then if we kind of do the GCW The Freedom show, that looks like a fun show as well. But the GCW did have 3 specific GCW produced shows in Japan, and we will be covering all of them and be ready for a lot of violence because a lot of death matches happened in Japan with the GCW roster.
And then the Freedom show, I may or may not have access to watch that one. The 3 on Fight TV I can watch. Yeah, that one was on a different, maybe that was on a website somewhere, I think. But I was just going to tell you ahead of time and maybe tell the people, I'm not 100% if we're going to be able to do that one. It was on Samurai TV, of which I don't know what that is. I'd have to do some research. However, if I can find it, we'll definitely do it.
Yeah, we're up for anything. We can just kind of give them a rundown of what the results happen.
Yeah. Well, the thing is I am, but I'm not seeing a lot of GCW people. Like there is a lot less than I would normally cover if it was an outside show. Like,
okay.
On this one, I have like the main event has Cole and Janela versus 2 gentlemen.
Rena, Nick,
Effie,
Jordan. Yeah, there's not a lot.
There's really not a lot. There's way less than half the card, to be fair.
Yeah. The first couple matches, mostly freedoms, and then the second half of the card is where GCW infiltrated the cards and match. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, we'll see what happens with that show. If anything, we'll just do a quick little rundown. And if anything does come from those shows, we could discuss it. But as of right now, that match already did happen about a week ago, so we haven't heard of anything about it. But if we do a discussion point, we will definitely discuss it on.
And I wish it was covered a little heavier too, because this is GCW's 13th anniversary show. So
Freedom's
maybe we should talk about that.
The Freedoms?
Oh, is it?
I don't think GCW's been around that long.
Yeah.
Unless they're counting the JCW shows.
They haven't.
Yeah, the JCW era.
That's Freedoms.
Yeah.
That's Freedoms. Because GCW hasn't been 13 years yet.
I'll say if so.
In this incarnation.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, in this incarnation, no.
But these Japan shows will be fun to cover. There was a lot of great action, a lot of violence, a lot of blood, a lot of interesting matchups too. So we will definitely be covering all those. But like I said, keep an ear out on Twitter, or we'll announce it when we're doing the podcast if it's going to be 1 mega one or 3 different ones. But we will be covering those, and then shortly after that, we will be covering GCW's Fight Club Night 1 and 2 and JCW versus the World. On behalf of myself and Mr. John J. Wolf, we will see you on our next episode. And just as always, we will get it right one of these times. Long live
GT.
Where'd you go? W.
Oh, it's just sad.